You know, I knew we were gonna get some great shifts. I knew it. I knew I was gonna be really fucking hyped for the tier. I knew things were gonna look really fucking weird. But I didn't expect this. How many drops is this? I'm not counting. So here's the thing, right? When we had the DLC 1 shifts, we had a nice trickle down of drops. And I guess that's not the best phrase to use there. We had them exponentially shrinking in terms of the amount that we got. You got bombarded. RU then honestly got kind of bombarded too, but when NU finally got the drops, honestly, we didn't really get that much. I feel like we got 15 or so Pokemon, and somehow the top of the meta didn't really change at all. But now, uh, uh, yeah, uh-huh. This is a lot to take in. And while there's some funny things that happen too that I'll cover down like here, but this is really fun. And so I don't know how much I want to talk in this video. This video, if I go over every drop, could last over an hour. And I have some food that I want to eat right now. It's right next to me. I woke up like maybe 15 minutes ago, and I'm hungry. However, I saw that I woke up to tier shifts. I even have 5 forum alerts. I can't click that button. It might show something private. That should not be shown to the general viewer base. But what I can show you are these tier shifts. Let's fucking get it. I guess we can cover rises first. Neither of these are particularly relevant. Torkoal, I mean, I guess now I can't use the Torkoal stall build. Someone passed me, but, you know. Was I looking forward to using that build? No. And in Ditto Rising, I honestly don't think I've seen any Ditto at all. Now, Ditto would be nice to have around, probably now. We got a lot of offensive threats. I have a few thoughts on what probably needs to be banned now. Aurora Veil. Anyhow. Let's get into it. So, Kingdra and Tyrantrum actually dropping back to NUBL. Well, this is very shocking to me. Especially Kingdra, because to my knowledge, Rain had been super, super prevalent in RU. Because, you know, Drizzle's allowed. And did Politoed drop? No, Politoed's still RU. Let's actually also check the percentage. Where are you, Politoed? Conkeldurr and RU, that's just fucking crazy. Damn it, Steelix actually has good usage still? Oh, that's not Steelix. Where is the God Elixir? Oh my lord, Snorlax is still up there though? Okay, so where's Politoed? Oh, Politoed actually, yeah, it's getting down there. There was almost NU Tornadus? Oh no. Wait, where's Steelix in this list of usage? Here he is. Okay, yeah. God damn it. So, Rain still gets usage, but I guess if Politoed's that close, then it's probably a bit more fringe than I guess originally thought. And I guess that could have to do with, like, competing with other weather? I assume the weather builds siphon off usage from each other. We actually got all of the Hailmons back, by the way. Literally every single one. But if Torkoal Rose, I'm assuming Sun is good in RU. They obviously still have access to Sand if they want to use Gigalith. So maybe that messes up usage for some of the other weathers. But Kingdra back to NU, I honestly see as a probably okay presence. We have... What, we've got... God, I'm so sorry that I'm talking so slowly. I'm still trying to wake up. There are so many new defensive Pokemon around here that I'm just assuming Kingdra can be held a bit more in check. We got Mantine back! Yo! Oh my lord, we're safe then. But I think the big thing is Kingdra won't have Auto Rain. And I did want to, like, see Kingdra in the meta without Rain as it was. So I'm pretty content with that. Seeing Discord as well is open for me right now. I can see my great friend telling me I'm gonna be maining in you for the next month because PU looks ass. It feels tough. But yeah, I think Kingdra could potentially be okay to keep around in the tier this time around. Again, there's just so many new defensive Pokemon as well. Our tier is pretty much RU Meta 1, or RU and DLC 1, but without Steelix. Unfortunately, that's still a meta without Steelix, and I really want that mon back in Inu. Alas, we move on. Tyrantrum! I also shocked at this because I felt like this would probably be a super good breaker. Our tier does have Pokemon that it gets checked by. You know, things like Inu staples from previous generations, like, you know, Beware. You know, that's a previous, just, you know, long-term Inu Pokemon. Rhyperior, you know, Inu staple right there. What else do we have that's just always been around in Inu that checks it? Where was it? It was somewhere up here. Oh, yeah. No, I didn't see it. I guess Milotic kind of checks it. Good Inu staple. Oh, Goodra and Inu too. Oh, that's a previous Inu staple. Yeah, in case you can't tell. Somehow, we lost Pokemon this gen, and yet the power level of Inu has skyrocketed. So we get a Bombsnow back at Inu. I don't think this will be very relevant at all. I think Vanillix just outclasses it as a Hail Setter, as a Veil Setter. Moving on. Aerodactyl. This mon lost Pursuit, which is huge. But it also got Dragon Dance. And so, previously if you wanted to run setup sets, which were never common at all in Gen 7, Hone Claws was very rare. I think maybe Hone Claws got seen in like Gen 5 and 6 RU. I wouldn't know. But you never really saw this mon set up. There was some like Z Celebrate shit that it would do, but that was also really fringe. DD sounds a lot cooler though. Aerodactyl was kind of easily revenge killed, I feel, in previous metas, with Scarfers like Heliolisk, Togedemaru. But Dragon Dance helps alleviate that issue entirely, so that could be cool. And of course, Choice Band's also just a really good breaker. Oh my lord, we got Bro. Oh my lord, I'm very excited for this tier. Oh my lord. But I think this mod should be pretty decent at breaking. The main issue I think Aerodactyl will run into is Tyrantrum is a better breaker. So I don't know. Yeah, it really would just be an issue of like competition. Yeah. Araquanid dropping to Inu. That is scary because it makes webs a lot more legitimate of a build, I feel. And Araquanid's also just very good on its own. Now, Inu did get a lot of water types with this drop. We got things like Melodic, Mantine. I think we got something else at the bottom, if I'm remembering. Maybe I was misremembering. The point... Oh, we got Vileplume as well. Like, so in terms of just stopping Araquanid from being a really good wall breaker with, you know, that annoying water bubble ability, we do have the tools. I'm just very scared about webs builds being enabled. Arcanine, I have a horrible stigma against Arcanine for, like, its horrible presence in UU last gen. But it's probably a capable enough breaker, and it's probably not a horrible defensive Pokemon with Boots and Teleport. That's really the only takes I have. Archeops, surely this mon is good to some extent, right? Probably not. I don't know how you compete with Aerodactyl. But it can pivot. That's cool. It can run special sets a lot more effectively as well, because the mon has like base 112 special attack. I feel like this would be a lot better if we had Steelix for the sole purpose of like luring in a Steelix and then bopping it with Earth Power. But maybe Archeops still finds some use, I'm just not sure. There are a lot of good Rock-type breakers in this meta, or in this tier now. Even Flying-type breakers. And so I struggle to see where Archeops fits in. I'll cover both the fossils right here. Please ban Arctozolt, and Arctovish, please go back to irrelevancy. I think Arctozolt will be broken as hell. I think we learned that mistake by keeping it around and letting Piloswine somehow be #1 in usage. And an Arctovish just, I don't think will be very good in comparison. I think it'll still get a lot of usage because guaranteeing max power Fishious Rend, you're still going to break through bulky water-resistant mons eventually. But I want Zolt gone so that Vish is a little bit more capably handled in comparison. Galar Articuno, I don't really know what this mon is supposed to do. We got steel types, we got like things like Copperajah and Bronzong. So I don't really know what this is supposed to do. We also have better psychic types, so moving on. Barbaracle! Yeah, this is gonna use Shell Smash and sweep the tier. That's about it. Beware! Why is this an Inu? Why? Please, tell me. This one's bulky as hell, it's strong as hell, it gets sword stance to set up, so it becomes even stronger. That fluffy ability makes it really painful to take down. Normal fighting is not a bad defensive typing at all. Having a ghost immunity is also just super cool, I think, for a fighting type. I CB Beware sounds incredibly scary to deal with. Especially because, you know, steel type's not a good check to it, despite it being a normal type. Ghost types, still not the best check. It does have Darkest Lariat to pop them. Beware is a scary mon. I'm not looking forward to having to deal with it. Blastoise. I'd be a lot more excited about this Pokemon if we didn't have other Shell Smashers dropping and in like other bulky water types. It'll probably have some discernible niche somewhere, but I don't really know what it'll do. Braviary. I would be a lot more hyped for this drop if it wasn't dropping with all these other goons. In this meta, I'm not sure how good it'll be, but I assume something like Bulk Up could be cool, especially because of heavy duty boots. That'll make it so like something like Bulk Up, Close Combat, Brave Bird Roost, a little bit better of a set. Obviously the Z move sets last gen did suffer a little bit for not being able to leverage Braviary's defensive utility as well as it would have liked to, just because of the Rock's weakness. Boots sets, they don't have to deal with that as much. Bronzong, oh my lord, we got a good steel type? Obviously the removal of Psywave hurts a little bit. It was like a bit more of a consistent way for Bronzong to do damage, but I think with the Godzonger, you're usually running Gyro Ball anyway, no? Probably. I mean, I don't have much to say, other than just Bronzong is a viable steel type? With Levitate? Oh my lord. Inu Celebi, yep, this is the hellscape we live in. I don't even, the horrible thing too is I don't even think Celebi's gonna be broken because we got things like Bronzong, Charizard, Copperajah, we have a Scavalier. Like, we have so many natural checks to Celebi coming with it. But this mod can do a lot, right? You can run, like, utility rock sets. You can run Scarf, Specs, Nasty Ply. It's got a lot of cool options. And I don't really know why we are in this world where it's in you. Oh, my lord. Anyhow. Charizard. Boots are really cool for this. Obviously we don't. Well, we do have Drought. We do have Drought users in the tier, and we are unbanning Drought again. With Torkoal leaving, it gets a little bit dicier, because you're being forced to allow Ninetales. But enabling Solar Power Charizard is always a good thing. I think Drought is probably going to be banned immediately, because holy fuck, Charizard is not something you can switch into. We saw even in OU earlier this gen when Sun builds were pretty good and Charizard was pretty common. We saw how good it was at breaking. And that was still in a tier that had like Snorlax as a fairly relevant Pokemon. We don't have anything like that. I mean, you could load up the Munchlax, but do you wanna? No, you don't. Copperajah, another viable steel type. Oh my lord. Oh, it's so nice. We're getting good steel types after having to use Stunfisk Galar for so long. Oh my yes. I'm so happy. This mod's also kind of scary though, because like Choice Band Raj, who's eaten? I don't know. I don't really know what checks Choice Band Copperajah. Even like bulky water types have to worry about getting Power Whipped in the head. I mean, as long as you don't run into Power Whip, or as long as you don't get hit by Power Whip at least, I figure you'll be fine. That's still kind of scary. Inu Cresselia, I didn't know this was an option. I don't like it. But at the same time, I don't know what Crest does. Like what, is it just gonna support Trick Room? Probably. Trick Room looks like it could be really good. I feel like we have a lot of super slow breakers here. Again, like Copperajah, Beware. What else is just in here that we could take a cursory glance at? Machamp? Oh god, why is Machamp here? Oh no, somehow I've just read over Machamp. I even saw Surfetched in here at one point. Vikavolt. Oh no. Yeah, I don't really see Crest doing much other than maybe supporting Trick Room. Maybe there are some just standalone defensive sets that could be cool as well. Maybe there's something with Calm Mind that could be cool. His Cresselia is super bulky. Maybe something like Sub Calm Mind or CM Rest could work on bulkier builds. Unsure. Decidueye, we finally get back. I'm not really excited at all about this mon. I don't really care. But I'm assuming, yeah, wall breaker sets will still be kind of good. Maybe not, though. We have so many breakers. Can something like Decidueye still have a niche? I think so, because I think its coverage is really good. But we'll see. And in Dhelmise, I like Dhelmise because it's a spinner. That's really it. We haven't had a lot of... We really haven't had a good spinner since Eldegoss was considered viable in the tier. And if Dhelmise ends up being, you know, actually viable, that's really good, because I think it makes Spike's builds a little bit more consistent. Because if the opponent starts forcing up hazards versus you, you don't feel pressured at all to, you know, panic defog or something. Or stack boots users on your team as a means of not caring about your opponent and getting hazards up. So I think that's cool. Diancie, this is one of the drops I'm so excited for because, oh my lord, Ultra Sun, Ultra Moon Inu meta with Diancie was my favorite. And now we have her back. My queen, you have returned to me, my lady. Now, I don't know if it can run as many of the sets as it could last gen, and I mean, I could tell you the answer is no. Spec sets kind of just get sat on by Bronzong and even the other steel types. No Z moves, unfortunately. Calm Mind might still be good, but if the steel types ever switch in, I feel like you're just forced out. Offensive rocks, I don't know. But I don't care. I love Diancie as a Pokemon. It also makes Carbink unviable, unfortunately, and I thought it was kind of cool to have Bink as a viable option. But I think some like defensive Diancie sets will probably pop up. Maybe if it's still like max special attack, max HP, but still throwing body press on there could be good. Because Diancie's natural defense is super high. I don't know if you need to pump it up further. Something like Carbink, you still wanted to pump the defense up because the Mon was just not... You're not doing damage with your power gems anyway if you ran that move. And you really want to Toxic Protect. But with Diancie, you could afford to run other attacking moves. Because this Mon's just not super passive. So maybe something like that could work. Dragalge, I think that's a very scary Mon. Adaptability hurts. And it also, this gen has Flip Turn, so it's not just a slow wall breaker that gets in, and then if you mispredict with an attack, you're always punished. If you just think your opponent's switching, you can just Flip Turn and keep them trapped in the vortex. So that's pretty good. And it could also, of course, run some pretty competent, just standalone, like, defensive pivot sets with, like, T-Spikes, Flip Turn, and then whatever moves you want from there. So that could be cool. Durant, who checks? I don't know. Who did we get that checks? I'm looking at the list and I'm not seeing any. I did see NU Talonflame, though. That's petrifying. Yeah, I don't know who checks Durant. Beware? I don't know. Anyhow, moving on. Exploud. I remember the last time we had this in NU, he was very, very broken. Because despite it not being that strong, Stab Boom Burst is scary. And then its coverage is also just ridiculously good. And I also want to say that somehow it got more coverage this gen, but I'm gonna refrain from making that claim because I don't remember. I think this time around, because the power level's so much higher, it's probably not going to be ban-worthy. I think we have enough just power in this tier to keep it around. But Specs Exploud. Hide your kids, hide your wife. Flygon. The day that Flygon drops to NU. That is so crazy. But I think this is a very cool drop. I don't know if offensive Flygon will be good. At least in comparison to some of the other sets. I think there's some potential with like defog based sets for Flygon. It's got a nice typing defensively, and so maybe just defensive utility sets with like defog, earthquake, U-turn, roost could work. I don't hate the sound of that. And of course I feel you probably will still see stuff like Dragon Dance. I think it gets DD, right? Yeah. Scarf, Band, they probably all still see usage, but look, I'm mostly just trying to figure out the utility sets because I like when the tier gets more utility options. Golisopod. Why is this in you? we have another Spiker. That's cool. We also have a first impression user, which is also just really cool. So another way to counter offense a little bit. I don't have much else to say though. Golurk's finally back in NU. I think this time around people will not sleep on Golurk. I feel like the spawn was probably really good when we had it originally, and people just weren't really using it at all because we didn't care. But I'd like to believe now we'll probably test it out some. And it looks like it will be pretty decent, because realistically, what's checking it? Why is Goodra NU? I couldn't tell you, but this thing's very bulky. It's for some reason pretty fast. It can go specs, it can go band, it can go AV. It's got a lot of coverage, basically in both physical attacks and special attacks, so you've got a lot of options there. We do have a lot of steel types that dropped. In addition, we got things like Diancie, which just help to keep it from spamming out the strong attacks that it wants to as much as it wants to. But I'm still kind of worried about Goodra. I feel like we'll probably still end up banning it just because the coverage and power combined feels very sus. And again, the speed too. This mon's just so weird with its stat distribution, but it ends up, despite it not really excelling in any specific stat, since it's got such a nice spread of stats, it still ends up being like kind of scary. And we get Heliolisk, and again, we're just reverting back to Ultra Sun, Ultra Moon NU as much as we can. Boots has been a set that I've seen in higher tiers. That probably ends up getting used down here too. I'm assuming Specs and Scarf will still have some viability, depending on if you really need, like, maybe speed control on your team. Heracross at NU, fuck off, I don't want this. Hitmonlee in NU, fuck off, I don't want to deal with, terrain seed stuff. Both the NDDs, maybe male NDD still too much. We do have a lot of steel types now, or we have more steel types now, so maybe it's not. We'll also even have Obstagoon now, good lord. But I still feel like I feel like the male form is gonna be like watch list, might be broken, and then female will probably be like just really good. But I don't know. There's not really much to say other than these are both scary wall breakers, and this one has no niche until NDD male is banned, or, you know, this one just drops to PU and finds a niche there. Kabutops. This is cool for potential rain builds with Kingdra. It also has flip turn, so maybe standalone Choice Scarf could work on certain teams. And of course, we have seen like some Endure sword stance on like hyper offense before with weak armor to kind of make it a double dance user of sorts. I see some potential there. It's also a spinner if you wanted more, you know, just random yes spinner in my tier. Lanoon, I don't want to deal with Belly Drum in my tier. Go away. Lucario, I don't want to deal with this nasty furry in my tier that for some reason. Why did we get every broken fighting type? No, go away. Machamp, I don't want to deal with you two-hit KOing everything in my tier with Facade. Get out. Mantine, this is also something that contributes to rain teams. And one of my least favorite, but also favorite Pokemon in NU back in Alpha was Mantine. Because Rain Dance Mantine was very, very scary. Just standalone like Rain Dance, Hurricane, Hydro Pump, and I think we ran Roost last. It was a very good Pokemon. And Specs Mantine's also just really strong. But I think the big, obvious thing people like is that it's another water immunity, and it's another mon that gets defog. Mienshao, why is this in my tier? Reckless High Jump Kick is scary. Assault Vest may even also be capably run. I mean, it gets Regenerator, so the mon will get used. There's so many fighting types. I think a big question in this metagame is going to be trying to figure out which one is like the fighting type you want to use. Between Mienshao, I saw what we have Passimian, Beware, Heracross, Machamp. Those are all those are really, really good Pokemon. And so it's very interesting. Well, Lucario too. It's going to be very interesting what ends up needing to be banned, what ends up settling as like the best ones, and then which ones just kind of fall to the wayside. Milotic, I don't know why this is in you, but this is going to be a very good Pokemon. Milotic super bulky. You can even run competitive on it if you want to try to punish defoggers, which is just kind of a random cool niche. It's good anti-setup mon thanks to like Haze and Dragon Tail. It sticks around the battle forever because it recover. You can run flip turn. It does a lot. and I'm very, very, very excited for it. Noivern. Yep. Previous UU best Pokemon in the tier is now in Inyu. I assume this is gonna do pretty much the same stuff that it did in UU, with like heavy duty boots, defogging, roosting, pivoting, things like that. It's really fast, and so we're getting another Mon that's gonna help define the new speed tier. Obstagoon, this was an OU staple at one point this gen, and now it is Inyu. Get this out of my tier. I think Obstagoon's probably gonna be like ridiculously good though, just because of how strong Guts makes Obstagoon. Normal and Dark is pretty good coverage inherently, and both Facade and Knock are pretty spammable moves. And then you get lovely techs like Bulk Up, Obstruct, Switcheroo to just help you out further. Omastar! Oh boy, more Shell Smashers! Yay! And even like potential hyper offense lead. Palisand, if we had gotten no rock resists, I would have been worried. So Palisand is good. It kind of checks Tyrantrum, but at least prevents the head smash spam. Oh, another fighting type too. Oh, thank goodness. But yeah, Palisand at least is also another rocker, and it's a fighting immune, which is really helpful. Pangoro though, oh my god. Again, more fighting types that I really don't want to deal with. I assume Pangoro will probably actually be able to stay in the tier. You know what though? I've been thinking about like all those Guts wall breakers. We have neutralizing gas Weezing in the tier, do we not? Doesn't that just beat them all? It probably doesn't just beat them, right? But it definitely helps against the like Guts ones that run like Flame Orb. Now you still get Choice Band on like things like Heracross, but don't worry about it. Let me have my moment. But Pangoro will be really good. Choice Band is scary. Sword Stance can be scary with like Choppleberry as well. Passimian! I'd be so much more excited for this if we did not get a whole bunch of better fighting types. But he can run Scarf and Pivot and Knock and is bulky and strong. I don't want Poltegeist in my tier. No! Go away! I don't need more Shell Smashers. Porygon Z, why is this? What? Adaptability Tri-Attack, that's gonna hurt. Nasty Plot's really good. I assume Double Dance could be cool, like Tri-Attack Dark Pulse for coverage. Specs is probably really good too. Alola Raichu, I guess Electric Terrain teams are now viable. That's really all I have to say there. Nasty Plot, Surge Surfer is really good. Regigigas, I don't care. Reuniclus, yep, this is an NU staple now. Reuniclus. I don't know how you break these sets that this can run. Assault Vest will probably be annoying. OTR, Trick Room, offensive Trick Room, that'll probably be annoying. Double Dance could be annoying. Just even standalone Calm Mind, probably annoying. This one's gonna be really annoying. Rabombi's back, and I don't care because I don't. It's another web setter, and I feel like that's really where the niche ends with Rabombi and this power level jacked up meta. Roserade in NU. It's another Spiker, so I like that. And it's also a T-Spike Absorber in one slot, so that's really cool. As a wall breaker, it obviously can't touch steals at all, but fortunately, all the steals we have other than Bronzong are going to be grounded. And so, that's not as big a deal. And we also got a lot of, I think, just overall checks to it, so I don't think it'll be anything that gets out of control. Rotom Mow, I remember when we had this in NU and Gen 7, and it was borderline broken. That's not the case, but it's going to be a really good pivot, and I think Nasty Plot will also be super good. Scrafty finally comes back to NU. It's been so long since we had it. I think once we banned it back in like March, it has remained RU. So we couldn't even like bring it back down when we were like doing the freeing of NUBL. This is another tool for HO, obviously. I don't know if you'd run Scrafty on HO, but it's another offensive setup sweeper with like really nasty defensive bulk up sets as well, which are just annoying as hell to KO, especially when you lose your fairy type. It's also a good status absorber with Shed Skin, and that's just, I think, generally a nice thing to have in a metagame. Scyther, maybe this makes Ninjask go away because Scyther's a better pivot, because it's just better. Please stop using Ninjask, I'm tired of seeing it. Sharpedo! I am going to get this banned within the first day of it being in the tier, and you cannot stop me. No matter how hard you try, it will happen. In fact, let me do it right now. Let's see. Can we ban Sharpedo too? He's OP. There we go. And see, that's how you leverage your council presence. And I already see one thing that we're banning. So that's good. Not a Pokemon. But you know what? It's okay. What are the Shiftry? Yeah, Shiftry also contributes to the scary potential for Sun teams. Again, the one thing holding Sun back, maybe, is that you have to use Ninetales as the setter. And I don't know if that's enough to hold that back from just Drought being broken. But Shiftry's super nasty with Sun support. Grass coverage, Grass Dark, Fire coverage is super hard to wall. You can go mixed because you can run Growth. It gets knockoff, Sucker Punch. Just a lot of annoying moves to deal with. Outside of Sun, it probably is pretty irrelevant. But inside, broken. And we get Sigilyph. Now, we've had Sigilyph in Inu in the past. In Gen 7, it was like top tier, and I think it's one of the best mons in the tier at this point. I think recent tournaments have proven how good Sigilyph is. And in this gen, we had it for a few hours, and then we're like, why is this in the tier? It's one of the best RU mons, and it sure as hell is not balanced in here. So we got rid of it. And it's going to do the same stuff that it did back then. Specs is going to be super good. Or not Specs, Life Orb is going to be super good. Setup sets will be really good as well. Specs probably will be good as well. Tinted Lens is a nasty ability, but Life Orb I think is a lot more linear to use, because you don't have to think as much. Your opponent can't really pivot around you. Magic Guard's also just super helpful. You can't punish it with hazards. You can't try to, you know, Scald Burn it for extra chip or Toxic Poison it. Very good breaker. I'm kind of scared of its future potential in the tier, but we do have a lot more fast stuff running around now, so maybe we're good. Also, we're actually almost done. I'm shocked. Steel Valley, I honestly don't know if this will be any good, but it is a steel type that can pivot and defog in one slot, so I feel kind of obligated to think it'll be good. Oh, another fight! God damn it! Another fighting type! Alright, RU gave us literally every fighting type in their tier, not named Terrakion and Conkeldurr. I think Terrakion went up. No! There's another fighting type down here! Why? God damn it! Oh my lord, what? Okay, we'll get to it. Surfetched, though. It's slower than a lot of the other fighting types, but it's really strong. It gets first impression, too, which is really cool for revenge killing. And, of course, it still gets knock. So it does most of the same stuff as the others. Galar Bro, please ban this. I don't want to deal with Quick Draw. I don't want to deal with how, like, bulky this mon is. Regenerator is even, like, annoying. Its coverage is great. I just don't want to deal with it. I really don't want to get Quick Draw, Quick Claw belly drummed on, if I'm being honest. I really don't want to lose to that. Slurpuff, I really don't want to lose to belly drum unburdened Slurpuff. Starmie in Inu, by the way. Why? I mean, I guess it's gonna be a really scary wall breaker. Probably a competent spinner as well. Like, it could be a pretty decent utility mon with, like, flip turn, rapid spin. Heavy duty boots helping keep it alive, recover as well. But, like, why is this in you? Sylveon, why is this in you? I mean, I won't complain because this is a really bulky Wish Passer. Really good special defensive mon. Really good on the offensive side as well. Mons, sets like Specs and Calm Mind both being pretty good. There are mons that drop that, like, this mon really helps. I mean, for what's worth, physically defensive Sylveon definitely helps to check stuff like Obstagoon. You don't, like, check it particularly well, but you do check it, so something. Inu Talonflame is just weird to see, but I don't know. Will it be broken? Probably not, I honestly feel. I think we have enough rock types in the tier that'll be relevant to where we can hold it down. And of course, Gale Wings is no longer just free. Heavy Duty Boots does help with Gale Wings a little bit, because now you're not just losing it to Stealth Rock, but you're still potentially losing it to your recoil moves. We could see some of those special Talonflames that ran like Hurricane, Flamethrower, or Fire Blast, I don't know which one they ran. Maybe we see some of those. But, unsure. Those obviously lack the, like, late game potential of an SD Talonflame. So we'll see. Toxtricity, I don't know why this is in Inu. But we did get a fair few mons that check it, at least. We got like Rhyperior again. Oh, did I skip Rhyperior? I definitely just skipped Rhyperior. Yeah, so Rhyperior's an NU for some reason. Moving on now. It's just better. It does everything Rhydon did, but better. And it can run some like other sets, I think, as well, that are just scary, like Choice Band. Yeah, Toxtricity, Specs is scary. I think Scarf could be kind of scary as well, maybe. Shift Gear, obviously, is going to be something everyone runs on Veil. I'm not looking forward to it. Serena, oh my lord, another Rapid Spinner, though. That's really cool. And Serena's also just a really good breaker. She got Triple Axle this gen, so that's good for breaking through Vileplume. So that should be kind of cool. And I just thought about Sun Mons again, and I'm so glad we didn't get Venusaur. Oh, that'd be doomed. But I like Serena. Nox is, of course, spammable. I think she gets U-turn, so that's good. Umbreon, another really good defensive Wish Passer and Cleric. A Ghost Resist, which is always welcome. Dark Resist as well. I'm kind of worried about it doing much of anything in this tier just because of all the fighting types, but once we weed some of the brokens out, it probably will have a pretty decent spot, I would guess. Uxie, I don't care about Uxie dropping, but it's another Stealth Rocker that's immune to ground, so I'm okay with that. Vanillix, fuck you because you have Aurora Veil and Hail all in one slot, and I don't like that. Vikavolt, it was a really scary breaker in previous metas. I don't know how it'll fare with the power creep all the way up. I feel like it'll still fare really well, though, because we didn't really get anything that checks it too well defensively. You know? We kind of still don't have great defensive answers, but the tier's a lot faster. We have other web setters as well, for what that's worth, so, you know, competition there, I guess. It's going to do the same stuff that it did before. Vileplume. Now this is another scary Sun Mon. Vileplume's good under Sun because of Chlorophyll, but I'm more interested in defensive sets. Will they be as good as they were last gen? We do have some fairies that we need checking. That need to be checked. We got some fighters that need to be checked. Maybe. And then Zoroark, please just ban this. I don't want to deal with him in the tier. And then we can get to the Mons that rose to NU. Look, I'm actually not taking forever with this video. I'm so happy. Galvantula rising to NU, I don't know why. It doesn't do anything of value. I guess it's a web setter, but... You know what? No, I have seen actually a really weird amount of webs on ladder, but I'm assuming with all the new webs mons, the Galvantula will drop back down. And then Golbat, I think this is in response to, like, Crobat leaving. People are just kind of replacing it with Golbat. And, of course, it's a Fairy Resist, which is really good to have in the tier. At least it was last meta. I don't know how relevant that'll be this meta. Yo, also, somehow Comfey just got made unviable in one tier shift. That's crazy. Anyhow. And then Mons that dropped out of NU. Magmortar back to PUBL. I think that's mostly as a result of like Centiskorch being the de facto fire type wall breaker. What else? Do we have other fire types that were relevant? I can't think of any, but I feel like I'm probably missing one that's really obvious. And no, the answer is not Colossal. I'll leave it at the Centiskorch point. Also, we do have a lot of water types that were relevant, like Gastro. I think that's also another big one. Gastrodon running a metagame. It's huge. Just, Magmortar doesn't have HP Grass this gen, so you don't really break Gastro ever. Gotta just ship for it. And Egregious finally drops out of NU after its long run of dominance. This was a pretty easy one to see. The only real spots you were seeing Egregious run were on Veil. And Veil wasn't even that common towards the end of the month. Credilli, this mon did not get used. Frostlass, this mon did not get used. Haunter, this mon did not get used, despite it still probably being an okay wall breaker. I think the meta just ended up getting a little too fast for it, so you couldn't leverage how like hard to punish it was as easily anymore. Miltank just kind of fell off the face of the earth, I think. We had a lot of viable rocker options in addition to Porygon 2 just being like the best normal type defensive mon in a tier. And all those combined to make Miltank kind of pointless to run. Regice just didn't get used. Gallerfisk, I think it's also just finally a lot of competition for like the Stealth Rock slot between mons like Aggron and Duraludon even really stepping up. Kind of caused it just fall out of favor. I could see it not being bad in this meta at all. I think there are a lot of mons that it can help check. So maybe we see some Galar Fisk. And Turtonator falling is just kind of funny, because we had all the, like, you know, desires to ban Veil at one point, and just seeing the main culprit fall to PU is just kind of like, huh. Was Veil really that broken? I think it is now. I really don't see how we justify keeping Veil around with all of these. But we'll see. And I'll give, like, my random commentary on some other drops. Huh. Lele finally back to OU? That's probably how it should be. Didn't realize Galar King was great, but I guess it's OU now. Blazing into UU! Oh no! And it's Tarak and Lycan both to UU. Makes sense. Tarak's apparently like borderline broken in UU. Aurora Veilmon back to UU makes sense. Nidoqueen I think I've seen some talk of. Plus it's a soft check to Tarak and the Dusk Lycanroc, so that's cool. And yeah, Tangrowth being in RU just felt wrong. And both these are like just Trick Room Mons, so don't care about them at all. What fell out of PU? Yep, these Mons all look like they should not be tiered anywhere above ZU. But that's it. That's the video. I'm looking forward to seeing what we ban on day one. I think there are probably some pretty obvious culprits. I think Aurora Veil probably goes. I feel like we have too many Pokemon in the tier now that just would break the archetype. And I really don't think that any defensive gains we made are going to offset the offensive ones. I think things like Slowbro, Galar, and Slurpuff you could justify banning just if you want like a quote-unquote competitive tier and view those Pokemon as uncompetitive. That's a really shitty argument, but I'm all for banning Galarbro entirely on the basis of Quick Draw and Quick Claw being just not pleasant to play into. There's some subjectivity there, obviously. And it's fun. I'll give you that. When you're using it, it's fun as fuck. It's just kind of fun and funny. But like, development of the tier, do we want to encourage people legitimately just trying to get a % chance of happening on every turn with a Pokemon out? I mean, I feel like it's a little bit different from just fishing for hacks on occasional turns, you know? That's my take there. Sharpedo, I think, probably should be banned. Sigilif, I think, maybe could argue to be banned. Indeedee, Male. But there's so many Pokemon. Oh, Arctozolt, though, I just want banned. Fuck this one. But obviously, at the end of the day, there's so many new Pokemon. I think it's very hard to justify getting rid of anything off the bat. There are a few things that, I think I wouldn't... If we banned Aurora Veil, Arctozolt, and then, like, Galarbro and Slurpuff on day one, I think it'd be very hard to argue against that. If you wanted to just try going for overall just competitive health of a tier. I think all those Pokemon contribute to really unhealthy playstyles. And so, yeah. I personally would be happy if we just banned them, but I understand if we don't. But that's it. This shift obviously turns you into a power creep infested tier like we've never had. So I think that's going to be really fun to figure out how to work around you in this new environment. Thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoy the rest of your afternoon, morning, evening, whatever it is. And, oh my lord, one of my friends comes to America today. He's immigrating over, finally. From Europe, so that's exciting. That'll be cool. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you guys enjoying life. And I'll see you guys next time. Peace.